Welcome to the Agents of Innovation podcast, where we feature conversations with entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and artists. Well, bienvenidos to the Agents of Innovation podcast. This is Francisco Gonzalez, your host. We're now on episode 156 here, which is really incredible. And the two guys that I have on today, you'll see them here on the screen here. Tomás Ambrosetti and Martin Diodorico. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
I met these guys about a year ago in Buenos Aires, Argentina, thanks to our mutual friend Ignacio Sapetnitsky here in Miami, who I know Ignacio and his family is also from Argentina. So he said you got to meet these guys when you go down there. I met them, and then also about a week or so later, our group trip started in Argentina for Fearless Journeys. And they were very kind to come meet with our group. I think we had some mate together, and it was a fun time. But anyway, let me introduce them. They are the co-founders of Guardian Capital, which is a really great financial firm in Argentina and Buenos Aires there. And I'm going to let them tell a little bit more about the beginnings of Guardian Capital and how they met and all these sorts of things. So why don't we start with Martin? Martin, welcome to the Agents of Innovation podcast.
Thank you, Francisco, for the invitation, and hello, everyone. I hope you stay tuned and learn about our story of the foundation of Guardian Capital. Well, it all began when Tomás and Pedro, that is the other partner, met each other in a local brokerage here in Argentina. We were in the advisory part of the company. We had investors of individual investors and also companies, and we worked there almost 3 years together. Well, then after that, we decided to go away from the local brokerage and start our own financial firm, that is Guardian Capital. And well, nowadays we are reaching almost 1,000 clients. So it's been 2 years since we are together in this independent side, and we are really happy for all the journey that we are creating as a team.
That's amazing. So just to clarify, that's 2 years of starting this firm, and you already have about 1,000 clients.
Yeah.
Yes, some of them were clients of us since 2019, and they continue the journey with each of us, the three partners, since then. So yeah, we have almost 1,000 clients right now, and some of them come here since 5 years ago.
Well, Tommy, tell me a little bit. How long were you each in those separate firms? I mean, you guys were all in separate different firms, or were you in the same firm?
We were in the same firm, but different teams. We met later. I think like 2 or 3 years after starting working in that firm. We met in the same team, and we were there. We tried like working together, plenty of teamwork, and then we decided one by one to quit that stable job to go to the independent side.
That's great. Well, it's always that's the entrepreneurial leap you guys took as well. And I also think it's interesting because, when we talk about entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur, a lot of times it is kind of what you're doing now, right? I mean, actually leading your own company. But you can kind of be entrepreneurial in different ways as well. But also sometimes before people take that leap, right, you need to learn by maybe being in some kind of corporate environment, working for others, learning on the job before you have that kind of confidence and the experience to move forward. Going back a little bit more, just to get a little bit more of your story. So Martin, Tomas, and Pedro, who's not with us here, but the three co-founders of Guardian Capital, are you guys all from Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
Yes, we are from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your education path and then maybe your first steps out of college to then go into your first roles.
The three of us studied economic subjects. I studied business administration, and Pedro is an economist. Martin, business administration as myself. And my first job was actually at a bakery shop, a little family shop with 25 employees. And I was 19 years old when I started there. I started like creating the administration of that business. Um, and there is where I met like the practice and the theoretical part that I studied in college, both together. They met, and that experience was really good for understanding how a business works from the inside. And then later, I turned into the financial institutions and started like reading about market economies and stocks and investing, and I turned my career into the financial part, starting in Balance Capital, that is this brokerage firm where we started our career.
Yes, as Tomás mentioned, I studied business administration here in a well-known university, and then I worked for my last year of my career at JP Morgan, and also made a master's degree in finance here, and finished it in UNC, that is a well-known university there in United States in North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, always near finance. I love all about finance, so I'm very happy to do this job. It's not a job for me. It's like almost doing my hobby.
Well, that's the best thing, right? I mean, when you can combine your passion with what you're good at doing, with what you like to do, with what the market needs, it doesn't feel like work, right? Even though I'm sure you work a lot. Although I don't know, in Argentina, you guys take a lot of holidays, but
There's plenty of
Yes,
holidays here. Yeah.
that's true.
yeah,
Can't deny it.
no, but no, it's yeah. So, but when you're doing that, it's great. So let me just a little bit. One of the things that really caught my attention with Guardian Capital. I mean, you're a financial firm. You have about 1,000 clients, and you're helping people. Is it primarily with helping people to save, to invest, putting their money in the market? Tell me a little bit about what's the main purpose with most of the clients you have.
Yeah, the main purpose is to help people to invest their savings, because it's here in Argentina. A lot of people save money by buying US dollars because we have a lot of inflation here. So the like most of people only buy dollars and they don't do anything, and they don't realize that by doing that they also have inflation in US dollars. You might know that better than anyone. But here people in Argentina think that they have to only buy dollars and they are investing. So we try to help people to make their first investments. That is for people that are not in the market, but we also advise for people that are in the market for many years and want a personalized advisory, so we can make portfolios for them in base of on their objectives.
Yeah, the main problem here in Argentina is that everybody knows how to save money, but they don't know how to invest money. So people save the money and just keep it in their houses or a bank account, and they don't use it, and that's the main problem for the capital markets and for the growth of the economy.
Okay, so this is interesting because I think especially for people outside Argentina and primarily, a lot of my viewers, listeners in the US, um, Martin, you said people buy dollars. And I think, Tomas, I was talking to you a few weeks ago about this, and it was super interesting because it seemed like you guys were saying that as soon as people are paid, uh, and they're paid in pesos, right? Argentine pesos, the first thing they want to do is either use that money to buy something and or convert the money immediately into dollars.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's true.
Yeah, that's true, because they want to get away from the local currency and go to another currency that is really reliable here, that is the US dollars. For example, all the the luxury cars or the real estate here is in US dollars currency, and they are not transactions in pesos. That's why here, the society here think that being in dollars is like an investment, and it's not. United States has also inflation, so you have to put them into work.
Yeah. Imagine
Yeah.
that in Argentina, the inflation was 10% per month in pesos. So when you you turn
Compare,
that
yeah.
when you compare it to the dollars that you might have, I don't know, 4 or 5% a year, and it's a lot. Well, in Argentina we have 10% a month. So people want to throw off the pesos and have the real currency that it's dollar for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because if someone's listening here from the US and I mean, it would be kind of strange to
Yeah.
say, I'm going to invest in the dollar, right? If
Yeah.
anything, you're going to take the money at the very basic and put it in your in a bank and put it in a savings account that has some kind of interest,
Hmm.
right? But the best thing to do would be to also take some of that and invest it in the market, maybe invest it in gold, maybe invested in Bitcoin. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places to invest it, right? And so that would be investing in different companies, investing in the S&P 500, for example,
Hmm.
here. Now Argentina has its own stock market as well with Argentine companies. Is that true?
Yes,
Yeah.
it has. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's a quite a small market. So, yeah, we recommend a lot of investors to also invest in the US market. That is, it has a lot of more volume, and you have more opportunities.
Yeah, there are some Argentinian stocks in the financial sector and in the energy sector that are like the key stocks you might have if you want to buy Argentina. But if you look at the market, there should be not more than 50 or maybe 100 stocks going around, but not more than that.
There is a
You know,
good fixed income market here in Argentina that we use a lot of great companies that have international businesses here. Uh, Based on the oil and gas market, for example, that have quite good fundamentals, and you can get really good yields of companies that are good, but they are in Argentina, so that's why they have to uh, have to pay that debt at high yields instead of being an, I don't know, investment grade or other type of company.
yeah. So going back to the currency issues, Argentina for the past 20 years or so has had some real serious inflation of the peso, um, kind of better or worse in different years. Um, and then I think also interesting what you guys are trying to persuade people to do is not just convert the pesos into dollars, but to also invest their funds in the market.
Hmm.
Here, I mean, I guess you could say there's probably a lot of people here that in the US that still need a lot of that education, particularly younger people kind of taking their first steps in life, post college in their 20s or something. But I think kind of as you get into most people are working for a corporation, like you're sort of instructed a little bit to put some money in investment accounts. It's pretty standard for everybody to kind of think about that. And that's in addition to things like Social Security and all that kind of stuff that the government has supposedly waiting for us. But tell me, what is the difference, do you think, in Argentina in terms of the maybe the percentage of the population that actually invest in the market and the
Hmm.
kind of education work you guys need to do to introduce them to that?
Yeah, the financial education here in Argentina is almost none. People just when you study like economic subjects in high school or in college, actually, you might know something about this. Um, I'm actually a school teacher. I teach in a high school, the last year of high school, so I have 16, 17 years old students, and I try to teach this how to save money and how to invest money because you need it and you need to do it for your own financial well-being. um, and in Argentina, it's really important. In all the world, it's important, but in Argentina, with these conditions, economic crisis and inflation, you need to invest your money. Yes or yes, you have no chances not to do it. Um, and yeah, when what you see when you have maybe the first clients here that come to Guardian Capital and ask some questions to us, they know almost nothing about the financial markets. So our job is to advise, and to teach as well these clients on what to do and how to do it, because the education here in financial businesses is almost nothing.
There's also a strange thing here in Argentina that there are a lot of wealthy families that have good businesses, but they don't invest in the stock market. I don't know if that is so common in US. Like almost everyone invests in the stock market. Here you have people that they never invested in the stock market, and they are grown up people with good businesses. They have a good money. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here to to expand.
To take their comparison, or maybe a knowledge of how much people invest in the stock market, there are 45 million people here in Argentina. 45 million. And I think the number was from 2 years ago. Only 1 million people had a brokerage account opened. So you had one every 44 or 45 Argentinians who could invest because they had their brokerage account open. So it's almost nothing, the amount of people trading or investing. They only save like buying US dollars and putting them away.
Also, I think to Martin's point as well, in terms of people not investing in the market there in Argentina, I know you guys also encourage a lot of your clients to invest in the U.S. market and other things. But also, I know this. One of the ways I know Ignacio, our mutual friend, is because he's a member of the Economic Club of Miami, where I'm also the executive director. And one of the things that we see in Miami is so much capital flowing into Miami from Latin America,
Hmm.
including Argentina. I mean, Ignacio's family came there several decades ago, right? And he's just emblematic of so many thousands, if not millions, of other people that come there. Some people just park their money there, right? They don't even have to live there.
Hmm.
Other people do live there part of the time of the year, or they've now moved there full time. But this, it's sort of a safe investment, right? Maybe we have sound financial institutions in the U.S. Where your money is more protected. There's also a lot of not just in Argentina, but other parts of Latin America. There's a lot more volatility. Maybe like a certain government comes in and a lot of policies change. Maybe in Venezuela, the whole country changes, right? I mean, things like that. So Venezuelan money, I mean, has really been coming to the U.S. for decades now. But talk about that factor if you would. Like, I mean, the fact that the money, a lot of how much of the money like actually leaves Argentina in terms of investments elsewhere.
Yeah, I think there are two kind of people or investors here in Argentina. The smaller ones invest just in Argentina because it's like what you have close to you. But the bigger families, as Martin said, has plenty of investments outside of Argentina because of all this track record of our economy and political crisis that make you wanna have your money outside because it's like more safe there, not having it in Argentina. So yeah, plenty of people invest in the US and maybe European markets, but principally in the US, and it's really common. And now Argentina has changed a bit in the political matter, and so we are seeing some of these capitals coming back. Um, but well, it's maybe a short-term thing in Argentina, going to midterm, hopefully. But yeah, as you said, the last 20 years has been a crisis in Argentina, so you have to earn that trust back.
Yeah, so let's actually, since you mentioned it, I'm gonna dive into the elephant in the room,
Hmm.
or perhaps in Argentina, or perhaps in the world, and that is Javier Milei. He was elected. It's been almost 2 years, right? Coming up,
Yeah, December
year and a half,
23.
2. Yeah, so year and a half, um, 18 months, I guess you could say, or
Yeah.
so. So how's it going? I mean, first of all, I could just say from my perspective. Uh, he's a rock star in terms of, I mean, whether people like him or not, right? I mean, he's all over the world. He's come to DC. He's come to Palm Beach. And he goes to Mar-a-Lago and hangs out with Trump, right? Elon Musk and him are buddies now, right? All these things. So he's created so much attention for Argentina just by his mere election and his chainsaw and all these very um, I guess you would say, government limitations and things like that that he's put on the government and a lot of the spending. So yeah, how's it going in Argentina? What's the take on the ground there regarding Javier Milei?
Well, it's going pretty good. The inflation, as we were talking 2 years ago, it was approximately 10% per month. Nowadays, it's going at 2% per month, and it's going down. Also, it's decreasing. The perspective is to continue decreasing. So, the U.S. dollar is also very stable. It's been almost 1 year and a half, and the dollar is at the same price almost. So, uh, with the good of that is that, well, all the prices start to uh, be more less you have less volatility in prices, especially in imported goods. And yeah, I think it's doing a really good job here in Argentina.
Yeah, and he really cut this spending from Argentinian state, and the fiscal superávit was like the key point and objective they had, and they made it in the first month, and later they went to slow down inflation, and they achieved it. So now we are looking at economic growth, that it's the next goal, and well, everything is going that way.
So it's interesting. A couple things I want to get at here because I've heard so a lot of Americans, for example, like before about 2 years ago, everybody said, "Oh my gosh, you got to go to Argentina because it's so cheap for us,
Yeah,
right?
Not,
The
not
power of the
anymore.
dollar, right? Yeah, not anymore."
Not anymore.
not
So I saw.
anymore.
Now it's
So it's
pretty,
funny.
pretty expensive.
Very expensive in
Yeah,
dollars. Yeah, that's why in a year and a half of government, the dollar is still the same, and we had, I don't know, maybe 140% of inflation in pesos. So yeah, all the goods and services here in US dollars went really up. Yeah.
yeah. So that's interesting because I saw somewhere on X a couple weeks ago, I saw somebody tweet one of these Latin American accounts, one of these sort of American expats in Latin America, and they tweeted a photo of the from at the airport, the line for foreigners, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like completely empty. There was like
Empty.
three people
Yeah.
in it. It was like three
Yeah.
people, and they said I've been coming to Argentina for like 5 years. This queue is always packed with foreigners, and now it's empty.
Empty.
The
Yeah.
tourists aren't coming because one of the reasons people came was the low cost in terms of the dollar on the outside to the peso there, and the way you can convert it. Once you get to Argentina, you bring in your cash, you go to one of these off-market exchanges, and you get like bundles and bundles of
Yeah.
pesos, which I experienced a few times. Especially, I was running a group trip, so I'm trying to pay for a lot of expenses for like 15 people, and man, I felt like Al Capone walking out of one of those.
With a huge
In
backpack.
fact, the person who did the exchange for me put it all on the table, and he said, "Do you feel like Pablo Escobar?"
Yeah.
I just said, "Well, I hope there's not a hitman outside waiting for me." So that's all. But I got to get to my safe and put it in there. But anyway, this is the other crazy thing, right? I mean, in terms of how much cash people had to walk around with, um, and because those pesos are were not worth very much in terms of what you get. But anyway, now, by the way, I still will come to Argentina no matter what the price is, because first, there's
That's
great
good.
people like you guys. There's amazing
Thanks.
steaks. Like there's no better steaks in the world. Like it's hard for me to
Yeah.
eat steak now that I've left Argentina.
Yeah.
And then there's great wine. I mean, who doesn't love that Malbec, right?
Yeah.
And just a beautiful country, a lot of great culture, especially in Buenos Aires. But you got a large country. Obviously the Mendoza wine country. You have Bariloche down there, ski part of the season. Enjoy hiking other parts of the season, and then I still got to make it all the way down to the southern part of the Patagonia, but tons of amazing landscapes, hiking. So Argentina's got a lot to offer, no matter what the price. In fact, the first time I went there, I felt like I was stealing because things were
Yeah.
so
That's true.
inexpensive. And I said, this place is so great. It should be as expensive as the U.S. or Paris or somewhere, and anyway, so I think that's great. But I will say this: I do know some friends that have been there on the ground. They've lived there for a year, 2 years, or they go back a lot. Maybe they spend 3 months a year, 6 months a year for the last 5 or 6 years. Their reports are things are getting so expensive just on the ground. Not, I think they were trying to say not just for the outsider, but for Argentines as well. So it's kind of interesting because you have this inflation has come down. Um, but what could you say about has there been a rise in prices? Has wages kept up? What's going on there on the ground in terms of how people are feeling in terms of the prices?
Yeah, wages went up this last year, but not as high as they should be to match that inflation or upside in prices. So we still have some place to go there with the salaries going up. And now when you see the normal wage in dollars, it's much higher than before because in pesos you receive a bit more than the previous year, for example, but the exchange rate from the peso to the dollar, it's just like last year or even lower. So when you look the international prices standing from Argentina, everything is a bit more accessible now. But still, for somebody in Argentina with their pesos, when you go outside to a restaurant or have I don't know, you want to travel or whatever, it's still pretty expensive and wages have to go a bit higher.
Yes, and also the thing that went really up is it's in dollars. I mean, 2 years ago, you went to if you want to go to a high-end restaurant here to get a steak and wine, you paid $25. Nowadays, you have to pay $80 to $90. So for people that are working for the outside and receiving dollars, Argentina is now a very expensive country.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting how things relate. But Tomas, you and I were talking a few weeks ago about this issue with prices and inflation,
Hmm.
and in terms of monetary policy, right? And in terms of can we talk a little bit about what causes inflation and what and in terms of like the value of the currency? Can you maybe help educate the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, we had in the previous years the emission of pesos was really really huge, and the government was printing money all day long for years. So there were plenty of pesos around circulating in the economy. This just made the peso money just lose value because there was so much of it that it loses value. So the actual administration, when Milei started, he started restricting this. He stopped printing and he started absorbing the pesos from the economy just to make like to cool down the economy a bit. But when you have less pesos in your hand, you don't start buying everything at whatever price. So that helped inflation move to the lowest part really really fast. That's when we turned from 10% monthly, like Martin said, to the actual 2.5%, and it was principally that case that matter.
Yeah,
The
and so I like what you said there because you said money loses value.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important distinction because it loses value in comparison to maybe things you can get for it as well. But money itself like actually loses value, um, and it's caused by the government, right? Or it's caused by the central bank. It's
Yeah.
caused by whoever is controlling the actual like printing of the money. So I mean, I always like to tell people like you print twice as many like uh, whatever dollars, pesos, whatever in circulation, it's going to go right in half
Yeah.
in terms of the value based on GDP and everything like that.
Yeah, it's supply and demand. And if you have a really big supply of pesos, the price will go down. The value of the money goes down. So that's what happened in Argentina all these years. There was so many pesos in the economy circulating that the value of it was really low. Nobody wanted the pesos. If you got your paycheck at the end of the month and you received those pesos in your bank, you turned right to the market and try to buy another currency like dollars or spend it in the economy, whatever. But the value of the money was really low and going every day lower.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it's like why do they print more money, right? I mean, it's sort of this idea that you're gonna stimulate the economy, right? At least in the short term, but we're gonna pay for it eventually.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that especially worldwide. We saw that during COVID, right? I mean, these governments just printed a lot of money, spent a lot of money, went into debt, and eventually that, I mean, we're going to be paying that price for that for maybe for decades.
Hmm.
But we're still everything that's still happening right now in the economy here in the U.S. and worldwide, I think is still a result of what we did during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we shut everybody's jobs down too, right? I mean, we shut the whole economy. So we did like, we cut down the demand side and we pumped
Yeah.
up the supply side. So it was kind of just a disaster.
Well, imagine that same situation that US felt on 1 year during COVID. We had it in Argentina for 20 years. So the damage is really huge. And well, the actual administration is trying to reverse that and go back to normal.
Yeah. So, well, let me just ask you another thing in terms of the now we've also the United States has introduced a lot of, well, I mean, I guess there's a conversation at least about tariffs.
Hmm.
So it's actually kind of interesting to me because Trump and Milei are very close friends, or they become good buddies, at least political allies and things like that. Milei seems to take more of the free market approach. I mean, you tell me if I'm off
Yeah,
here. He's a
perfect.
very libertarian, free market. Hayek, for those who
Yeah.
like F.A.
Yeah,
Hayek. By the
he's
way, this week is F.A. Hayek's birthday on May 8th. We're recording this the first week of, I guess, almost second week of May here. And but anyway, and Trump seems to be aligned with Malay on a lot of things, but he seems to really love the word tariff,
hmm
which seems to be not much. It's not free trade. It's more protectionist. So can you talk a little bit about maybe Malay's views on free trade, tariffs, protectionism, everything? I don't know, because maybe there's something else going on in Argentina, but also, secondly, can you also talk about how is Argentina being affected by some of the tariffs that the U.S. has proposed?
Okay. Yeah, Milei is the opposite to a protectionist. He wants the free trade with whoever wants to agree with that. He wants free trade with America and with different countries. So we've been in a protectionist economy for the last years, and now that's changing. So yeah, Milei is on the free trade side, and we export plenty of goods coming from the countryside. Like soybeans and different products coming from the agricultural side. So when the U.S. and Trump put this tariff to all the exchange, it affects Argentina in that part, in the things that we sell to them, coming from maybe the meat. We are bigger. Our exports are really huge in meat and soybeans, for example. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great. And so, well, anyway, so it's interesting. So I guess Argentina did get one of the lowest tariff rates,
yeah.
proposed
I
tariff
think
rates.
Milei was one of the first ones to go and talk to Trump after the tariffs. So yeah, I think he got that 10% tariff on the exports, not the higher ones that maybe other countries have right now.
And look, I've listened to a lot of politicians on both sides on this. It seems to me that one of the big factors from Trump is really the number one thing is China, right?
Hmm.
Trying to realign the world in a way that that China is less economically powerful and thus politically powerful and militarily less powerful and things like that. And it also seems that we in the U.S. We see an ally in Argentina, we see an ally in Malay, not just with China, but just generally, right? And also, South America's got like a lot of different things going on in terms of. I mean, I talked about Venezuela earlier. My father's from Cuba. That's been a disaster for almost 70 years. Um, and we see what's going on in Brazil's kind of interesting. So. Um, it seems like we want to help Malay. We want to help Argentina. We want a strong Argentine economy. There also may be other factors involved, right? I mean, Argentina's got got at least some level of trade route going around the southern part there. There's some question marks of land in the Antarctica area, right? There's lots of interesting. I don't know if there's some kind of space stuff going on down there as well. There's also I know some of the mineral deposits like lithium and things like that that China's got been kind of helping to get them out of there and process them in China. So there's a lot going on. But anyway, I just thought I'd get your thoughts on some of these things in terms of how you see, what's going on with Argentina and the U.S. in general.
I think that yeah, the relation with Milei and Trump is a political orientation of being a free market politician, and it's also an ally there because there is a lot of left wing politicians in South America. So Argentina and U.S. united, it's a good strategy for United States to don't lose power in the world, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing Argentina has is all these natural resources that you were talking about before, that are like maybe the key or the principal activities that might turn Argentina into a greater country next. This oil and gas that is in the southern part of the country, lithium, and now there's some copper mine found these last days. So natural resources in Argentina are really good, and I think that it's the next step is how to get the best deal for those. Maybe if you can manufacture things here and then get some allies in the US or different countries just to trade them, that should be something good. And Milei and Argentina government should be looking at that to see what are the best next steps going forward.
So we've mentioned a few parts of the Argentine economy. Which sector in Argentina do you think is primed to outperform um, some of the expectations?
I
Oil
think
and
oil
gas
and
for
gas,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
Oil
good
and
old
gas.
oil and gas.
oil and
Yeah.
gas, yeah.
Here we have Vaca Muerta. There is a great place where you have oil and gas processing, and you got some businesses like YPF, Pampa Energía, Vista Oil, different companies that extract the petrol there, the oil and gas both, and they sell it to the world. So that's the key spot.
That's great. Okay, so another thing that really kind of stood out to me from what you guys are doing as a firm is all of your communications. You're on TikTok, Instagram. I don't know where else I've seen you. You've gotten a lot of media
Hmm.
attention, right? Both in print and in, I think, radio and maybe podcast and things like that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your communication strategy. Like, what's the purpose of it, and what kind of messages do you kind of spread through those platforms?
The purpose there is to expand or to introduce the financial education for everyone, and to also we want the investor to understand what they are doing when they come to invest with us. So there are no surprises. Uh, for them to understand what is a bond, what is a stock, and what are the risks involved in each transaction. So that's why we try to communicate everything in our social media, so the investor is feels more secure at the time when they start investing.
Yeah, it goes all by this financial education that we were talking before earlier today. That as there is no financial education in Argentina, we want to be part of it in different ways and communicating everything we know about stock markets. We think that it's like the best way of doing it because the information is there, but you just gotta go and listen to podcasts and read some articles. And so we want to make it easier for the people who don't know anything about finance. We want them to know a bit more, and maybe if everything goes right, motivate them to start their investment accounts and start building their own wealth by themselves.
So you're kind of doing two purposes, it seems. Just general financial education for anybody listening and tuning in, and then you're also building a following, which
Hmm.
maybe you're converting some of those people into new clients as well.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so do you see anybody else in your market in Buenos Aires, anywhere like kind of doing this type of output? I mean, are there other I don't know if you want to say competitors or just people out there kind of doing something similar?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are some colleagues that do the same, and also the stockbrokers here do the same with their communications. They try to involve more people in the market, so they try to explain each investment product so people can understand more about the stock market and to uh, lose the fear of start investing.
So I see you guys doing a lot of these short clips on Instagram and TikTok. Do you also have a podcast?
We are invited to a podcast every Monday and some other days maybe. We receive plenty of invitations to this kind of finance podcasts, and we like to go because it's another way of showing what we do and talking about this subject. So we take almost everything that there's available for teaching about this. We do these Instagram videos, we do them some written articles in newspapers, and well, the podcasts we are invited like yours today.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, I just think it's super interesting in the world that we're living in today that here you have these guys, Martin, Tommy, Pedro, who's not here. I mean, running a financial firm in Buenos Aires, and in addition, doing social media, right? For that, it's almost like you in most businesses today, you have to have some kind of social media presence, right? To
Escalate your business.
expand. It's
Yeah.
it's it's an advertising type thing. But I feel like you guys are going like a little more the extra mile in like the way you use the social media platforms to really educate people in the broader like financial education, but then like use that also as a tool for like client being able to convert them into clients.
Yeah, we are not directly selling anything. We don't sell a course. We don't sell those things. We just teach you like freely, and then maybe you start following us and you like the way we talk and whatever. And in that way, we can convert some clients. It's like our collateral goal.
Yeah, that's great. So also, I wanted to ask you a little bit when you're advising people. You mentioned the stock market. You mentioned some of these, not necessarily for. I just why I want to ask you. You mentioned that Argentina in general has has a lot of investment and a lot of good opportunities in some of these minerals, right? We talked about lithium, copper. So I don't know, are you advising people to invest in some of those types of minerals in Argentina? Also, what about gold? And also, what about Bitcoin?
Hmm, nice.
You want to start, Tommy?
No, yeah, we advise on these investments. You do it. You can buy the stocks from these kind of companies who extract these minerals and oil and gas in Argentina, and you can also invest in bonds that these companies throw into the market for to get some financing. So we do that. Gold is another mineral we see. It has a the price of gold this last year has been going really up because of whatever everything that happened in the market. And Bitcoin, we do not invest in it directly. We use some ETFs that are going around in the market, like EBIT. You might know about it. That you can through the stock market invest in these alternative investments, but with like less exposure and less risk. We do that, but in a much smaller amount.
Yeah, we are not a specialist in the crypto world, but for clients that want to have that asset class, we suggest to use the stock market uh, by these ETFs that are from BlackRock, JP Morgan, that have their own ETFs that track the price of Bitcoin, so they don't have the risk of crypto brokerages that they had some problems last year and the year before also with some of them going to bankrupt or I don't know or hacking their wallets.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been really interesting. I want to just ask a few last couple questions here. Tomas, you mentioned before that you had an early entrepreneurial experience in a bakery.
Yeah,
And then in addition to doing all the things you guys do just with the firm, you also teach. You mentioned
yeah.
you teach a high school. You've been doing that for a few years. And it kind of an extension, you're teaching them, what are you teaching them? Economics, finance?
Business administration and finance, both subjects. In the morning from 8 to 10 a.m. before the market opens here in Argentina. Market starts at 11 o'clock. So I got that morning routine.
Man, I'll tell you what, Argentina, 11 o'clock, the market starts. And it does it close at 3?
No,
4.
5 p.m.
Okay,
Yeah, like
5.
5.
5 p.m. 11 to 5. Yeah, it's a few hours, but really intense.
Yeah, I guess it's really interesting to me just observing Argentina and Argentines from the outside because I love Argentina and I love all the people, all the friends I've made there. But it's funny so many times. I text either you guys or some of my other friends down there about, oh, we can't do it on this day because it's a holiday.
Yeah,
And I swear I'm like, I don't know, I must have gotten 20 different texts about that, like
yeah,
throughout the year, like this is a holiday, that's a holiday. I said, man, there's a whole lot of holidays. Now I'm learning that the markets don't open till 11 a.m. And then
hmm
when I'm actually in Buenos Aires and I'm in Palermo, and by the way, I say this is I think emblematic of a lot of things, but I remember on a weekday evening, I'm walking around 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening, and like the coffee shops in Palermo, Soho are packed. And
Yeah.
I was actually in a coffee shop earlier in the same day, around 10, 11. It was kind of quiet.
Mm.
Um, and maybe people were at work and I was just doing my little remote work in a coffee shop. But I was like, why is the coffee shop packed at 5 or 6 in the evening, which is like the opposite of the US?
hmm
Yeah.
You would see that kind of busier in the morning. But I just felt like the lifestyle, it's very social down
Yes.
there as well, and
Yes.
people will just kind of get together at any time. Whereas here in the US, you might have to make a calendar appointment with someone to get on their schedule to have coffee in 3 weeks from now, Whereas I feel like in Argentina, it could just be like, oh, you want to get coffee? Let's do it in 30 minutes.
hmm
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, like a little bit of that Argentine mindset when it comes to work, when it comes to recreation, family, social, whatever. How do you see it? What's unique about it?
I think we have more an European style. You can see that all our surnames are Italian
Yeah.
or Spanish, so we have that culture in our blood, a very social culture, and yeah, at 5, 6 p.m. Most of people are out of work and they are having a beer or drinking a coffee. So yeah, the Argentina, the common Argentinian people are not so workaholic. I think they make a good work and life balance, uh, and also a family. They give a lot of we give a lot of importance to family. We meet every Sunday with the whole family, with cousins, uncles, grandparents. So yeah, we give a lot of importance to that, to the work and life balance.
Yeah, and I think people say New York is the city that never sleeps. I think Buenos Aires is the city that never sleeps. If it's a Tuesday night and you want to go out and do something, there are plenty of places available. So yeah, I think it's like that.
Yeah, it seems people, it seems like the average time to go out for dinner in Argentina is somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night. I remember when we were running our group trips, and I would ask for like a time for the restaurant to host us around 7 o'clock, and they would say 7 o'clock. We don't have dinner ready at 7 o'clock. It'll be at least we can accommodate you at 8 o'clock,
Yeah,
and
but
that seemed like a stretch for them. Like they wanted us to be even later. I said, but I got these people coming from the U.S. who they want to go to sleep at some point. And the Argentines just don't seem to sleep. But now I understand because then I would see around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening they're drinking coffee,
Yeah.
and
We need coffee in our blood.
yeah, the markets, don't open until 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. No,
yeah.
and so many holidays. But anyway, Tommy, also I know you have some other passions, such as sailing. I wanted to hear from each of you guys how. So you mentioned a little bit, Tommy. You were kind of getting into it. How you
Mhm.
spend your day. I don't know if you teach every day, but how your typical day looks, and then what are some of the passions you have outside of Guardian Capital, even though I know for Martine, like that is the passion, right?
Yeah.
Guardian Capital.
Yeah,
But
I share that passion in finance with Martin. That's why we do it. Some of the days of the week, not every day. Some days I go to school in the morning from 8 to 10, and then 11 a.m. we start working here at the office. So we do that until 5 or 6 p.m. when market closes and we wrap up our day. And yeah, my hobby is sailing. I sail boats, but I do it on weekends. So Saturday and Sunday, I'm most of the time sailing on the river here. I have no cell phone connection. I just disconnect my mind from everything else, and I go sailing with some friends and the crew I normally do it with. And well, that's normally my week. I really enjoy those holidays that Martin maybe don't like that much. I like them because I can go sailing all day long.
Yeah, I hate holidays. So I don't have to live here in Argentina because I love the routine. So when you make all those long weekends, This weekend was Thursday and Friday was a non-working day, so it was a 4-day holiday. Yeah, 4-day weekend. Uh, I don't know what
What was the
any.
holiday? What was the holiday?
It
Oh, it was
was the
Labor
day
Day?
Labor Day. Yeah.
Labor Day, yeah. And yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm always going out to restaurants, and the second or third day, I want to the week to start again. And yeah, my passion also about finance is tennis. I love tennis. I've been playing tennis since I was 4 years old. I competed a little bit when I was younger, but so yeah, I try to play twice a week tennis.
Well, Martine, I don't know. We might have talked about this before, but I played tennis since I was about 8 years old and also
Okay.
competed. Now, last August, I tore my Achilles tendon on the tennis court, so I'm back to walking normally again. But I
Well,
haven't really played much tennis. But when I'm back playing
yeah, we
tennis,
have to make it.
we'll have to hit some
Yeah,
time,
of
and
course.
well, hopefully we'll welcome you to Miami. I know you guys travel a lot to Europe, to the U.S. So I don't know. You got any plans, Martine or Tomas, to come to the U.S., including Miami?
Hopefully soon. We have some clients that are from US, so yeah, we are trying to go and visit them, and well, also visit you.
That'd be great. We
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you. I know Ignacio and my friend Chris Grosef. We'll
Yeah,
all connect with you guys in Miami if you make it here, and we definitely will find a sailboat for you, Tommy, too. I think I
Sure.
know a
yeah,
few
Looking
people around
forward
here.
to
We
it.
got
Yeah.
we got
I
we
would
got
love it.
probably more boats than we know what to do with in Florida. Actually, we
Perfect.
do know what to do with them. So yeah.
I will take one of those.
That's great. Well, guys, this has been really great to have you. I really do see you as really true agents of innovation there in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I know you're doing a lot of great work revolutionizing the wealth management industry, especially with all the communications you do on all the major social media platforms. How can people find you? Website, social media accounts? Tell us where to find you.
they can find us in Instagram with Guardian Capital low bar is, and in our website that is guardiancapital.com.r.
That's great,
Super.
Guardian Capital. So yeah, it's funny because you do have to look for the Guardian Capital Argentina. Sometimes when I
Yeah.
search, I think I find this one from Canada or something. I can't
Yeah,
Correct.
remember.
There's
there's
one.
a
It's .com. We are .com.r. It's really
Dot
important
com
that
dot
yes,
r.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guardiancapital.com.ar. Right?
AR,
AR.
Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course you can find it on all the social media, and I will put it in the show notes here for those that are either watching on YouTube or listening on any of the podcast platforms. We're on everything: Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, for those who want to maybe come to Argentina with me someday, you can come on a Fearless Journeys group trip, and you can learn more about joining Fearless Journeys 2.0 at fearlessjourneys.org and learn about how to join those group trips, including to Argentina. And of course, when we come to Argentina, we're gonna visit with Martin and Tomas and their team. So I look forward to seeing
Of
you guys
course.
again there, if not
Yeah.
in Miami sooner. Thanks so much
Perfect.
for
It would be a
being
pleasure.
on the Agents of Innovation podcast, and thanks for being agents of innovation yourself.
Thank you,
Thanks for having
Francisco.
us.